Hey guys, Coach here. Welcome to this week's video. This week we are going to do something that we don't normally do on this channel. We are not going to tell you how to do something in the landscape world. It's a little different, huh? Actually, what I wanted to share with you is two hardscape projects that I have been immersed in since, probably at the middle of August, and mostly this month in September for what I am standing on today. The two hardscape projects are no outdoor living space that I have up by the house. And more importantly, and for the reason of access, what I'm standing on right here, which is a rather stout, well-built creek bridge that we built over the Little Brook. And the Little Brook, it has its own personality at times. September up here in the far northeast is the driest time of year. We generally see very little accumulation of rain. I call it kind of nuisance rain. It's just enough to keep things green, but not enough to get things going really well. And our brook, both the big one, certainly the little one, and the pond is in a state of drought right now. But the bridge itself is something that I have never done. And this is not telling you how to do it. It's just showing you what I did regarding the bridge. And then the same goes for the deck. I am not a master deck builder. I never pretend to be a master carpenter. But I have built a few decks in my time. So what we have up there turned out okay. It wasn't very big. It's only 10 by 12, but it's enough for two people to have a little bit of outdoor seating, maybe a barbecue in the corner, maybe some container stuff next spring, summer, and fall, and that's all we needed. But this guy right here, this guy allowed me to access power tools like JD the tractor and also the lawnmower to get over here. And by getting over here, I can retrieve firewood that has been down for several months, and I can get back over safely. And this is something that I would be able to navigate probably, shall we say, 10 months out of the year, because once the snow really starts accumulating in January and February, except on a few occasions, probably can't drive over here that much. But most of the time, if we have a few inches on the ground, no problems. This thing was built on a span of 20 feet. On one side of the creek, it was built with cinder block filled with rebar and concrete. Same thing on the other side. Basically a bulkhead is what it was. And it was made out of the 8 by 8 by 16 blocks, leveled on top of a well-draining gravel bed with a filter fabric on the bottom. And then all the concrete and cement filled it up. I tell you, I felt like I kind of overbuilt something. But at the same token, I didn't think a 20-foot span all in one chunk was really a long-term stable solution for this bridge. So what I did do is I put two mid-span supports, probably about 12 feet out, 11 feet out, and then the remainder, was the second half. My biggest concern about this whole bridge is when it does rain and when the snow melts, depending on how fast it melts, is this bridge high enough and is it wide enough to accommodate a lot of water going underneath it? And I think it will be, especially since we're going to have some riprap and other rock that's going to be placed in here to kind of stabilize the banks. We've had a tremendous amount of erosion on the Little Brook coming out of the pond here since we've been here. We have lost the better part of 15 feet of bank here, which is directly connected to the dam itself. So we had to think this thing through, not only building this, but protecting that as well, which will be part of the fall project, wrapping everything up this year. So bulkheads at either end, 6 by 6 center column supports in the middle, 6 by 6 joists going across, 5 wide on an 8-foot span. And then 2 by 8 pressure treated, all the wood is pressure treated for that matter, 2 by 8 pressure treated decking, and then 2x8 tread boards across the top. I have structural screws and I have bolts that I sunk into the cement and nuts and washers that hold the 6x6s at each end. And it's like a road, in my opinion. It's like a road. It reminds me a lot of the forest road bridges that Maestro and I have driven across in the national forests out west. That's kind of what it reminds me of. And that was kind of my inspiration on how I was going to build it. And I'm one of those guys, maybe you can relate, maybe you cannot, stares at the ceiling quite a bit before I go to sleep at night. I see things in the dark part of my mind, and how am I going to do this? How am I going to act? Where am I going to, how am I going to chop? How am I going to cut? How am I going to support? And then eventually, through exhaustion, I fall asleep. This was the result. And I think it turned out okay. I really do. Do I think there are some mistakes? Yeah, here and there probably, but nothing that is really going to affect the overall outcome. And that's what I want to impress upon you, is that I didn't think I could do something like this initially, something I'd never done before. And now, here it is, finished, thought out, completed. And now I'm going to just treat it for water protection and snow protection, and it'll be done. And we have already driven our tractor across here. I've pulled some timber out of the forest that came down this spring, and now that timber is the retaining part of the uphill drive that is still yet to be completed, because in the middle of all this, my tractor, JD, he decided to get sick on me. So he's at the tractor hospital. He'll be back later this week. So let's take a few minutes and just go over what I did to create the deck up outside the house and how I added just a little bit of outdoor living space to our home here at Brook Pond. So the decking situation that I had and the ideas that I had to come up with had to overcome a primary problem. And that is that this deck is placed on a fill type of hillside. This was filled in from the previous owner to give a little bit more driveway surround and a little more room on the back side of the property. So based on that, I knew I couldn't, at least on the front footer area, I couldn't dig down because it's really not that stable. Now, how do you do that? How do you overcome that and still have a safe deck, foundation, etc.? Well, I figured this. I knew that the head of the decking up near the driveway was much more stable ground. So what I did is I went and got those 16-inch, I don't know if you can see them on the video, but the 16-inch concrete platforms at Lowe's. And in those, I drilled out the center of them and I anchored the concrete anchors for a 6x6 post and ratcheted that down rock solid. And then I had a gravel basin cut in a circular fashion, and I put those platforms down. And I put the anchor on it, and then I put the 6x6 on top of that. I leveled everything across, carpentry 101, right? Then I took around that platform and I poured cement around it. So now I have this hole, somewhat, only about that deep or so, and then a little bigger than the platform itself, and then concreted around it and made that my anchor point, so that if the front of the deck got weird on me, I could always jack it up and reapply some type of an adhering type of product, more concrete down here, or whatever it would take. But from what I have seen after I have built this deck, it is solid. It is 6x6 posts, 2x8 spans, 2x8 rim joists, all pressure treated, and then 5 quarter boards for the decking boards. I did not have the budget for a composite deck surface. I just didn't. So I went with this. This is going to get stained before, shall we say, fall gets any further, stained and protected, and then we're going to enjoy it every single year. I think I will probably tarp this once the snows start to fly. I have seen a lot of wood product up in our area, and what it looks like after snow has sat on it for a whole winter, it really darkens it and stains it really bad. And I'd prefer not to have that. So probably a tarp being held down with some pavers or something for the winter, and then we'll uncover it. I don't think it's got enough airflow and stuff underneath it, and it's got a nice vapor barrier and gravel underneath it, that the airflow is still going to get up there even if I have it tarped. So I don't think it's going to create a rot situation. But if some of you decking experts out there can add to that, would I be compromising my decking surface by tarping it during the time of year that rot generally doesn't take place in sub-freezing temperatures? But you guys tell me. Drop it in the comments below and let me know. So our two hardscape projects that I did from mid-August till just a couple of days ago in mid to late September have kind of almost finished out our season for landscape projects. Right now, when I get the tractor back, I have several cubic yards of gravel that I'm freshening up the driveway down at the culvert that got froze out and flooded out last year. Here's a little picture right here, and I'd prefer not to have that repeated, but I got to fix the driveway permanently until it does it again. But I have a culvert idea this winter I'm going to share with you in a couple of weeks. Anyway, if you guys think that you can't do something, join the Coach Matt Club and say, think it out, do some due diligence, and know full well, once you think it, it can come to life, and it's not that hard. Simple measuring, simple double checking, corner to corner squaring, and that's about it. Is this deck 100% to within an 1/8 inch of square? No, it is not. It's about an inch off, actually. Is that bridge down at my small brook perfectly square? No, it is not. It has a little bit of wonk to it on the center supports because of the creek bed and unstable ground that I had to use or not use, and so it left it a little askew and not totally square to the bulkheads. So what I did is I just cut my 6x6 joists to the angle that was there, and it worked out perfectly fine, and it was basically hidden by the decking surface itself. So only I know, and it still works just fine. So perfection is always what we try to attain, and what we get close to it will still work, and it'll generally turn out better than you actually thought you could. Hey, and for all you people that look at the background and everything else, is there one thing that you see about this deck that is missing? I'll let you figure it out in 3, 2, 1. Yes, it does not have a safety railing on it yet. This is as far as it's going to go this season. Because we have fall and winter and really cold temperatures in our, medium future, we will consider the railing next year. Because honestly, we have quite a drop down the hill to the pond from here. And one misstep, you've got about, you'd be rolling for a couple of seconds. So yes, we will be putting a railing of one kind or another up next season. So for all you contractors, all you astute observers, yeah, you probably didn't see one. We'll probably have one coming back about this far, which is within 18 inches, and then certainly around the front and about halfway back on that side too. Hey, that's what I got for you. 2 hardscape projects here at Brook Pond. And now we jump off into finishing the gravel as soon as I get the tractor back. I appreciate you looking in, taking a minute to watch. And as always, to your guys' landscape success, you can do this. And I challenge you to do it maybe sooner than you think. I'll catch you guys next week. Bye for now.